Table Mountain National Park is recognized as one of the world's most remarkable attractions, a scenic, historic, cultural, and recreational asset. A blend of rugged mountains, moonlit beaches, ancient forests, and much more surrounded by the city. Acclaimed landmarks Table Mountain and the historic Cape of Good Hope draw millions of visitors every year. The Cape Peninsula is a slim finger of land near the southern tip of Africa with the Atlantic seaboard in the west and the warmer waters of False Bay along the southern section. Table Mountain National Park straddles the peninsula right down to Cape Point and right around the fringes of the Table Mountain chain. A special feature of this park is that it has open access. Cape of Good Hope, Boulders Beach, and Silvermine are the only 3 points where conservation fees have to be paid. Appetizing cuisines can be enjoyed at restaurants in the park operating on top of Table Mountain itself, at Rhodes Memorial above the University of Cape Town and at Cape Point. There is also a lovely tea room tucked away in the Tokai Forest. A number of picnic areas can be found around the park, with curio shops in operation at various top spots. There are 3 conference and function venues available. Table Mountain National Park is part of the Cape Floristic Region World Heritage Site. Rare and endangered plants make this area a biodiversity hotspot. Fynbos, fine bush, is an ancient and fire-dependent vegetation which needs to burn every 15 years to stimulate growth and remain healthy. Proteas can be seen most places in the park, while some very special and rare plants are present in the mountain wetlands and in Noordhoek. Animals living in Table Mountain National Park are well adapted to their environment and not that easily seen amongst the vegetation. A variety of antelope species can be spotted, including Klip's Ringer, Eland, and Bontebok, as well as other mammals such as Cape Mountain zebra, Chacma baboon and Cape clawless otter. There are a number of endemic bird species like the Cape sugarbird to watch out for, but some of the park's most famous residents are the jackass penguins at Boulders Beach. Visiting star attractions are the southern right and humpback whales, which visit the coast between August and October annually. Table Mountain Park has some excellent vantage points for whale watching. Attractions in Table Mountain National Park: Cape of Good Hope, Cape Point Visitor Center, funicular, and lighthouses. Boulders Beach, penguin colony near Simonstown. Table Mountain, with cableway, hikes, walks, visitor center. Silvermine, nature walks on the Constantiaberg Mountain and beautiful dam. Signal Hill and Lion's Head, Cape Town landmarks, noonday gun, and a hike. Beaches galore from trendy to secluded all along the coast. Indigenous forests, ancient swathes of Afromontane forest. Forest walks, Newlands, Tokai, Buderkral, Hout Bay, Muizenberg. Table Mountain National Park, previously known as the Cape Peninsula National Park, is a national park in Cape Town, South Africa, proclaimed on May 29, 1998, for the purpose of protecting the natural environment of the Table Mountain chain, and in particular the rare fynbos vegetation. The park is managed by South African National Parks. The property is included as part of the UNESCO Cape Floral Region World Heritage Site. The park contains 2 well-known landmarks, Table Mountain, for which the park is named, and the Cape of Good Hope, the most southwestern extremity of Africa. Arguments for a national park on the Cape Peninsula, centered on Table Mountain, began in earnest in the mid-1930s. The Table Mountain Preservation Board was set up in 1952, and in 1957 its recommendation to the National Monuments Board was accepted and Table Mountain was declared a national monument. In the mid-1960s, the Cape Town City Council declared nature reserves on Table Mountain, Lion's Head, Signal Hill, and Silvermine. Following high fire incidents in the 1970s, Douglas Hay was appointed to assess the ecological state of Table Mountain and the Southern Peninsula, and he recommended, 1978, that all the peninsula's mountains above 152 m should be conserved. This laid the foundations for the Cape Peninsula Protected Natural Environment, CPPNE, area, finally established in 1989. However, environmental management was still bedeviled by the fragmented nature of land ownership on the peninsula. Following a big fire above the city bowl in 1991, Attorney General Frank Kahn was appointed to reach consensus on a plan for rationalizing management of the CPPNE. In 1995, Professor Brian Huntley recommended that SAN Parks be appointed to manage the CPPNE, with an agreement signed in April 1998 to transfer around 39,500 acres to SAN Parks. On May 29, 1998, then-President Nelson Mandela proclaimed the Cape Peninsula National Park. The park was later renamed to the Table Mountain National Park. The park runs approximately north-south along the range of mountains that make up the mountainous spine of the Cape Peninsula, from Signal Hill in the north, through Lion's Head, Table Mountain, Constantiaberg, Silvermine, the mountains of the southern peninsula, terminating at Cape Point. The park is not a single contiguous area. The undeveloped mountainous areas which make up most of the park are separated by developed urban areas on the shallower terrain. Thus the park is divided into three separate sections, as listed below. Table Mountain Section. This section covers Signal Hill, Lion's Head, Table Mountain proper, including the back table, the rear, lower part of the mountain, Devil's Peak, the 12 Apostles, actually a series of 17 peaks along the Atlantic seaboard, and Orange Kloof, a specially protected area not open to the public. It borders on central Cape Town in the north, Camps Bay and the Atlantic coast in the west, the southern suburbs in the east, and Hout Bay in the south. This section was formed from the Table Mountain National Monument, Cecilia Park, and Newlands Forest. Kirstenbosch National Botanical Garden is not officially part of the national park, but its higher reaches are maintained as part of the park. Silvermine Tokai Section. This section runs northwest, southeast across the peninsula from the Atlantic seaboard to the False Bay coast. It covers Constantiaberg, Steenberg Peak, and the Cock Bay Mountains. It borders on Hout Bay in the northwest, the suburbs of Constantia and Tokai in the northeast, Cock Bay in the southeast, and Fishhook and Newarthoek in the southwest. This section was formed from the Tokai State Forest and the Silvermine Nature Reserve. Cape Point Section. This section covers the most southern area of the Cape Peninsula, stretching from Cape Point and the Cape of Good Hope in the south, as far north as Scarborough on the Atlantic coast and Simonstown on the False Bay coast. It was formed from the Cape of Good Hope Nature Reserve. This area forms part of the Cape Floristic region and as such supports a high diversity of flora, much of which is rare and endemic. Protea, Erica, Restio, and Asteraceae species, as well as geophytes, are all found in abundance. The main indigenous vegetation types are Peninsula sandstone finebows and Cape granite finebows, both of which are endangered and endemic to Cape Town, occurring nowhere else in the world. Larger predators that historically roamed the area include the Cape lion, leopard, which persisted as late as the 1920s, and tracks are claimed to still be found today, as well as spotted hyena and black-backed jackal. Large herbivores similarly disappeared at the hands of the European settlers, for example elephant, black rhinoceros, kudu, eland, mountain zebra, and bontebok, although the last three species were reintroduced to the Cape Point section of the park. Smaller mammals are still found in the park, caracal, rock hyrax and a variety of small antelope species, such as the Cape gracebok and notably the recently reintroduced klipspringer. The Table Mountain National Park Marine Protected Area is an inshore marine protected area around the Cape Peninsula. The MPA is of value for conservation of a wide range of endemic species, and has considerable economic value as a tourist destination. It encloses a large number of recreational dive sites visited by local residents and tourists from further afield. The shark and whale watching tourist industries are also represented, and there are several popular surf breaks. The MPA is mainly a controlled zone where extractive activities are allowed under permit, with 6 small no-take zones. The MPA is administrated by the Table Mountain National Park. The marine ecology is unusually varied for an area of this size, as a result of the meeting of 2 major oceanic water masses near Cape Point, and the park extends into 2 coastal marine bioregions. The ecology of the west or Atlantic seaboard side of the park is noticeably different in character and biodiversity to that of the east, or False Bay side. Both sides are classified as temperate waters, but there is a significant difference in average temperature, with the Atlantic side being noticeably colder on average. The MPA contains culturally significant fish traps, historical wrecks and traditional fishing communities, and is also important for commercial fisheries. Part of the West Coast rock lobster industry takes place within the MPA, as well as recreational and subsistence fishers, and an illegal poaching industry mostly targeting abalone, rock lobster, and territorial linefish from the no-take zones. Table Mountain stands tall and proud as an iconic natural wonder in the heart of Cape Town, South Africa. With its breathtaking views, diverse flora and fauna and historical significance, it has captured the hearts of millions of visitors from around the world. Table Mountain National Park website serves as your gateway to explore the myriad facets of Table Mountain, providing you with a well-documented and immersive experience. Table Mountain, a flat-topped sandstone mountain, graces the cityscape of Cape Town with its imposing presence. Rising approximately 1,085 meters above sea level, it is a remarkable geological masterpiece formed over millions of years. The mountain's unique plateau, stretching approximately 3 kilometers from end to end, is a testament to the forces of nature that have shaped this awe-inspiring landmark. Table Mountain has long held deep cultural and historical significance for the local Khoikhoi and San communities, who recognize it as a spiritual place and symbol of their heritage. In addition, its slopes bear traces of early human habitation, making it an important archaeological site. European explorers, including the famous Portuguese navigator Bartolomeu Dias, were among the first to document their encounters with this majestic peak during their voyages around the Cape of Good Hope. The Table Mountain Cableway carries visitors from the lower cable station on Kluknik Road to the top of Table Mountain, allowing visitors to avoid the fairly arduous walk-up. Boulders Beach, south of Simon's Town, contains a large colony of African penguins. Cape Point and the Cape of Good Hope are very scenic, although they are neither the most southern tip of Africa nor the meeting place of the Atlantic and Indian Oceans, as is often believed. Thank you for watching this video.